Welcome to the Elokus podcast. This is going to be class number 12 in the discourse Vaidabe Moshe Roshei Hamatos 5672, which is the 10th discourse in the overall book, B'Shoshek Dimu 5672. And this is going to be the third class in chapter 39 in the overall book. Okay. So we left off yesterday in which he presented that Chachma, that wisdom, is outside of the entire system of the evolution chain, which applies or is applicable or governs the entire relationship of all the sefirot that come after Chachma. How Bina passes or relates to Das, or knowledge. Bina, which means understanding, relates to Das, which is knowledge. And knowledge relates to the midos, the chesed, the gavura, and all of that relates to malchus, which is kingship. All these sefirot have a relationship of a chain-like relationship. And the idea behind it is that the relationship is one of ilah v'olol, which we explained yesterday as a form of closeness of cause and effect. Not just cause and effect, but cause and effect with a deep dependency between one level and the next level. And yesterday, but he said Chachma is above it all, and Chachma, it's not possible to have that. And that is all because Chachma is an essential experience, and it's very different than everything else, which is outside of the essence. It's all in the expression of something, in the revelation of something, in the form of something, in the design of something, but not in its essence. Chachma is of essence, and it probes the essence. And over there's no gradual evolution of the various different stages. So to understand this idea, he said, we're going to use examples of ilah v'olol, and we're going to see why they can't apply to Chachma. In general, he says there are two modes, two modules or modes that apply, or to form two different types of ilah v'olol relationships. One form of an ilah v'olol is when the olol, which is the effect, is a separate entity from the effector, from the cause. It's just that the cause carries the effect inside of it. An ilah v'olol always has to be where one thing is born out of the other. But the question is what's being born out of the other just an extension of the other, or is it another entity hidden inside of it, and then it gets projected, and once it gets projected, it separates from its source, but doesn't separate completely, remaining dependent on the source. So one type of ilah v'olol is that the substance that comes out, the effect, is not of the same reality of the source. It's not of the same essence, not of the same substance of the source. And we didn't give an example yet. We're going to learn the example today. The other type of ilah v'olol is that the olol, which is the effect, as it is affected by the effector, or let's say the affectee, as it is affected by the effector or the cause, the way it is that it is the same substance of the cause. It's just like more like an external emanation of it. So it would be similar to, he used the term, a branch of a tree coming out of a tree. The branch of the tree on the one hand is not the tree trunk, or the tree trunk or the tree base. It is, however, it's an extension. It's a narrow extension of the tree. So it is of the same substance. It's just let's just call it inferior to the tree itself. Just me. So these are two types of ilah v'olol, and what he's going to explain is that both these modes of ilah v'olol can only apply on those elements where we are, where we're in the design and in the externality of an existence. But when we are in the essence of an existence, in the essence, you don't have this gradual evolution of either type of ilah v'olol. Now, why that is, let's leave that for later. But he's now going to first explain to us the two types of ilovi olol. The first type is where the olol, the effectee, coming from the effect. These are new words I'm making up for this, but I feel more comfortable using than cause and effect. The effectee and the effector are of two different of two substances, but one carries the other, like a mother carries a fetus, a baby, and then eventually the baby goes out to be a separate entity. So the example that he gives over here is for mode number one. For this one, is when emotions are born out of intelligence. So over here, the effectee are the emotions. The effector, or the cause, is the intellect. Now, the intellect doesn't produce emotions from a distance. The intellect first harbors the emotion inside the space of the intellect. Emotions are born, as he's going to describe now in a beautiful description, how emotions are born within the mind. And they're not really full-fledged emotions, but they're already the seeds of an emotion, like a fetus being born in the mother's, being developed within the mother. But in this case, intellect and emotions are very different, and it's not the same substance. Intelligence and emotion is a complete different substance. Yet emotions are created within the intellect and then produced, or not just created in the intellect, or their beginning of their existence unfolds in the mind, and then it fully manifests to be an emotion. So this would be the example of the effector and the effectee being of two different substances, where one just comes from the other. We find that the intellect is included in the intelligence before the emotions become felt and fully born, a full-fledged emotion in the heart. Stated else, usually intellect associated with the mind and emotions associated with the heart. So, but first, stated else will be as explained elsewhere in the explanation of the teaching of the Zohar from Bamidbar, Daf, page 120, Amid Aleph. What does it say over there? Be'inyan, there's a pasuk that says, utzvuncha, and your hiddenness, like your hidden treasure, or your that which is hidden by you, tamale bitnam, will fill their stomachs. I think the simple meaning of this verse is that what is hidden inside God, which is the great lights that God is hiding inside of himself, we can see that as a great rewards. Eventually, this we're going to be tamale. It's going to fill bitnam, their stomachs, which means God is going to feed the righteous, the tzaddikim, with these hidden elements inside of it. So they're going to get something magnificently great and beautiful. That's the simple meaning of utzvuncha. What is hidden in, like we say, morav tufcha, how great is abundant and great is your goodness, asher tzafanta, that is hidden l'reyacha, that you have set aside for those who fear you. So when it comes time for God to share that, he's going to share that, and it's going to fill the stomachs, which means it's going to satiate the tzaddikim, the righteous people. However, the Zohar says that this also has a mystical meaning applying within the divine itself. Shazau, that this concept of utzvuncha tamale bitnam, that which is hidden fills their stomach. Shazeh ibur dezun, this is the idea of the pregnancy of the 6 emotions of God called Zah, and the element of Malchus, which is called Nukva. Zah stands for, or Zun stands for Zuchra Nukva, male, female, which represents the entire gamut of the emotions. There are the 6 emotions that are considered male, and in many ways considered one child, one boy, or we can look at them as 6 boys, like by Leah has 6 sons, or they can all be one male being with 6 emotions, one level of masculinity. And then there is the female element, which is the element of Malchus kingship, which is mostly associated with speech. But it's also an emotion of royalty. So the Zohar says that the Zun, these male-female emotions within God, Sfirot, which later manifest within Hashem, they exist first on a higher state as they are in a fetal state within their mother, within the Bina. And that's the meaning of Utzvuncha, the hidden emotions. Tamale fills the bitnam, the stomach of who? Or in this case, it would be more like the womb of Bina. Bina is filled because she's carrying within her Tzvuncha, the hidden emotions of God. Again, Shazel Ibur de Zun, Bebeten de Ema. This is the Ibur, the impregnation of the Zun, Bebeten, the pregnant state of the Zuchra Nukva, of these babies. Bebeten de Ema, inside of the beten, which generally means the womb of the mother. So that is in the divine. How do we translate this into our experience? Because we are a reflection and we are created in the image of God. So how is that in our own emotions? Okay, in a spot, we find that in ourselves as too. The emotions of love and fear are the emotions that represent within us the male and female emotion. Can sometimes be seen as love of Hashem and fear of God. Love is male and fear is female. So we have that our emotions exist in 2 stages. The emotion exists in a manifest state when we feel a full-fledged emotion of love or a full-fledged fear of God in this case. Or these emotions can be hidden in our mind, which, as he can explain in a moment, is an emotional excitement that's taking place while we're still in the intelligent state. Kinyan is pilus avavayira, like the idea of the excitement of love and fear. Before they come into full manifestation, a full revelation in the heart. First, they were included and absorbed by his baininus in the contemplation. And they are, it's not just a forebearer, it's not just a kind of a intellectual source for an emotional excitement. No, the emotion already is taking place in the head. That's what we're saying. It's like a mother doesn't just have within her a source for her children that she projects or creates. She harbors that fetus. She harbors her children inside her space. But yet when they're in her space, they're not her. There's something else that is growing inside of her. And the same over here is the emotion in the intellect. That's what he's saying over here. Shahayu, they exist bimitziyasam, in their existence as an emotion, but instead of them being in the place where emotions happen, which is in the heart, they are in a far more elevated, elegant state, because they are now still residing within the parameters and within the space of the intelligence. But they are when they first existed in their existence, literally, as they will find themselves later in the heart. Like we see in the literal sense. Like we see in the literal sense that there is an excitement and a spilus, an excitement of love and fear that happens in the brain. Okay? So there is an excitement of love and fear that happens in the brain. What does that mean? So when you learn a subject, you learn about something and you come to appreciate something and you have a clarity in something wonderful. So the mind gets excited. There is a wow that takes place. There's a certain fireworks that go on in the head where the mind gets excited. Now, the general nature of mind is calmness. If you're excited, you can't conceive anything. The mind requires a calmness. But after the calm comes the storm. The storm is the excitement. Now, real fiery excitement is the emotion. Emotions are total. Emotions are a storm, right? You get angry, full of rage. You get feeling intense love, passion, fire in the heart. And the way our love to God is supposed to really be like fiery and passionate, like a blazing inferno that happens in the heart. But in the mind, there is already a certain measure of excitement that happens. Now, that excitement that happens in the head is not really part of the intelligence. It's not of the intelligence. It's of a foreign substance, because intelligence is essentially calm. It is of a foreign substance, which is the emotion, but the emotion is still in an elevated state, as he's going to explain right now. It's not as fervent and feverish and as intense in the mind as it is in the heart, and it's also more refined. And what do we mean in more refined? We're going to see in a moment. There is an excitement that happens in the head, and you cannot have an excitement in the heart. You can't get emotionally excited. If you're learning something and you conceive it, but you don't get excited about it in any way, it just remains kind of very just dry, completely dry facts, then you're going to just be a, how do they call them? You're going to be a genius geek without any human emotions to yourself. It's going to be like a computer. There's nothing's going to go down to the heart. There's not going to be any passion, fire. Everything is going to remain just pure calculated math in the head. Nothing, no emotions no consequential emotions are ever going to be born. Because every emotion must start, the stimulation of the emotion starts in the head. The emotions need to incubate within their mother, within the Bina. And he says over here, these emotions are very fine, they're very elegant. Then when this excitement reaches the heart and becomes a full-blown emotion. Now, even though they are more elegant, as we'll see why in a moment, they're more refined, yet there's a certain coarseness to an emotion of the heart that doesn't apply to the emotion when it's in the head. However, he says they are already an existence of an emotion. It's the emotions in their most best self, in their better self. Question is Perek Lamed Gimel, as explained earlier in chapter 33. Hafresh over there, we explained in chapter 33. Hafresh ben Spailas Amidos Spailas Aseichel. We already discussed the difference between an excitement of the emotions and an excitement of the mind, of the intellect. The Spailos Amidos Ubehergesh Atzmi. The excitement that is in the heart is very much, the excitement has a lot of self-consciousness and self-awareness to it. In other words, when there is an excitement, you feel very, very, when it's an emotion, you feel very, very, very much your own existence. So it's almost like when you say, I love you, and you're really feeling that passion of I love you, there's a whole lot of I in that love. You is also felt because I'm loving something and I'm excited about that something. But a lot of that excitement is about the fact that which means you are satisfying something for me. And that's why I'm so excited about it. I'm excited about it, not so much because you for what you are yourself, but you as you are supporting me, as I'm getting something from you. So in every emotion, there's a very strong feeling of why this is good for me, how this is enhancing me, how this is improving me. Anyway, it can be a spiritual improvement. That's also, but it's still a self. It could be a physical enhancement, a physical pleasure, whatever it is, but there is a very strong sense of self and a lot that is felt in the emotion is the self. As he says, it's with a very strong self-consciousness. What is the excitement? One is getting excited. Not even that the thing is objectively good, The emotions don't care about an objective goodness to something. The emotions care about the fact that if something is objectively amazingly good, but you know you can never benefit from it, you can't get close to it, you will never have it. You're not going to feel an emotion. You might have an intellectual appreciation. You could have some kind of an intellectual excitement, but you're not going to have a fervor, a passion on it because you can never reach it. It's not, you're never getting it, and it's not, you can't get even close to it. It's off limits. And therefore, since you're never going to have it, there's no really love to it. Spilus, it's what you conceive and you understand that having that is good for you. Spilus aseichel. Now, unlike that, the excitement, what we said earlier, the origins of the excitement of the heart begin in the mind. When the excitement was in the mind, the excitement that takes place of and in the intelligence is, even though there is an excitement, but the excitement is not that it's good for me, but rather I'm looking at it and I'm seeing that this thing is really, really wonderful. One is getting excited about the fact that this is good, and this, it's detached from what I'm going to gain from it. It is just, as you can celebrate objectively that it is beautiful and get excited about the fact that you are so beautiful, or that this is so rich, or this is so wonderful, or this is so has such enormous quality and such beauty, or whatever it is, unrelated to how that implies and how that affects my life. Rather, one is getting excited about the good that's in it. And if you're feeling yourself in it, then you're already dragging it down into the heart. You're dragging it into your emotion. The fact that we're referring to this as a emotion that is still embedded in the mind is because even though there is a quality of emotion over there, and that is excitement, as we're going to see, something very, why that means that you're no more in the inner world of the intellect, because in the inner world of the intellect, you're not excited about it. You're just inside it. When you're conceiving something and you're in it, you're just knowing it. You're not excited about it. In order to get excited about it, you have to step out of it and look at it from not being, and as disconnect from the actual it, and be outside of it and say, whoa, how, hoo-ha. That's when you get excited. It's like being in the palace. While you're in it and you're mesmerized in the palace, you're just taking it all in. You leave the palace. That's when you're like, wow, what I just saw, I must share it with everybody. That's why you're having today's days such a crazy world, I'm believing. And most people are never, they've lost the ability to experience anything, because the moment something precious is happening, they take their phones out and they're filming it, which means they're participating in getting excited about it and not just letting it be and not even being aware that you're excited. When you're deep inside of it, you're really not excited, because every excitement is on the outside of something. So pure intellect, which is getting to allow something else, getting into the properties, getting to know something. It, not you. The curiosity of a person leads them out of themselves into the world of another human, an idea, a concept, whatever it is. You abandon yourself and you enter into the world of something else. When you're in that something else, excitement always means I'm getting worked up. But since it's not me now, I'm you, I'm inside your world. So what do you mean I'm getting excited? There's no me now. I stepped away. I stepped away from me. I went away from me into it, like Moshe Rabbeinu says this week in the parasha. When he sees the burning bush, He says, Asura ve'ere. So let me turn away and see this fantastic thing. So Rashi says it means Asura mikan. Let me go away from here and go there. There's two motions. One is to leave here and go there. When you're exploring something intellectually, you're saying goodbye to yourself, exiting yourself, suspending yourself outside of yourself, and getting into the reality of something else. Of course, in Chachma, much more than in Bina, but even in Bina, when you're taking it into your mind, but it's not in your into self, it's just stretching your mind to hold something, but you're holding it. And what you're sensing is it, not you. But when you're getting excited, that means it's affecting you. You're warming up. Imagine like you're holding it and your hands remain cold. But if you're warming up, which means it's having an effect on you. That's what an emotion is. But in the mind, you're warming up and you're sensing that it's special. You're not even thinking, because you're still a little bit above yourself. So you're not thinking about special to me. You stepped out of the inside of it to be able to feel that you're excited about it. Then when you go further down and you step even away more from it and enter more into yourself, then you measure yourself up versus it. And then you say, wow, this is really good for me. So now I am really excited. And so then you exited it more it and went more to yourself. And you're bringing it along into yourself, but it is now entering your space instead of you leaving your space. And in intellect, you are leaving yourself and going into it. In emotion, you're bringing it into your space. And that's why in emotion, you feel yourself much more. And in intellect, you feel yourself much less. You feel it more. In the pure intelligence, you feel it so much that you're totally gone and not there, so that you're not even excited. But as you begin to return back to self-consciousness, and you're going a little bit out of it, but you're still very close to it, here's when you start getting worked up by it. And like excited means like it's rallying your might say like speeding up. Your heart is speeding up. Their heart rate is going up. There's an excitement. There's a movement. There's a passion. So what that means is that there is more of a self over here, but subtly, it's not so crass, not so thick, not so dense self. Then you pull it into the emotion. It's already more selfish. Now, it's part of the human experience, not bad, but yet more a return to self. We can see it also physiologically in the body, and emotions we associate with the heart. Where is the heart? The heart is the center inside the center of the cavity of the chest. It's right in the center of the human being, just a little bit above the belly button that you might say is really the center, but just a little bit above that, it's where you are the you. The head is like sitting on top of you, is when you're reaching our ability to like transcend ourselves and go elsewhere. Okay. So again, this explains the Asparlis Atzmi is with a very strong self-awareness. One gets excited about how this is good for me. And the excitement of the intellect, one is getting mispoil, one is getting excited. Only on the good of the thing itself. Nevertheless, however, the fact that there is excitement, that's already not intellect. Intellect is a silent losing yourself into something, and therefore there's no excited. Intellect is calm. Because intelligence, in essence, are not in a state of excitement. It's just, give me the information. It's just grasping it. It's not excited about it. And when you start getting excited, even if it's an intellectual excitement, even if the excitement is not geared to itself, that I'm excited because this is going to give me something. But rather, I'm just excited because it is beautiful. It's nice. It's like, go into an art shop and look at the paintings. You're suddenly taken by some magnificent painting. First, you're lost in the beauty of the painting. Then, after that, kind of like a step away, you like move away, look at a different painting, step away. What's happening is you're starting to process, how can I maybe buy that painting? It will be how this will look so beautiful in my house. This will look so beautiful in the living room. It's like, and you start already getting excited about how, can we buy it? Let me speak to my husband. Let me speak to my, I want to get this. Can I make payments? Is already figuring out, but now you're already getting excited about it's good for you. This would be beautiful in my house. But first you got lost in the fact that, so there's two stages. The first moment you're looking at it, you're not even excited. You're just examining it and seeing it for what it is. You're lost in it. Then you start the excitement happens because you're stepping out of it to a certain degree. And now you can get excited about it. But then comes the third stage, as we say, you start thinking about it in relationship to your own world, how this painting will be gorgeous in your house and will enhance your life. However, he says, any form of excitement, that's already emotions. But here is where we differentiate. The emotions, let's go back to the terminology we were using earlier, the olul, the affecti, the emotions, which are a product of the mind, the affector, the olul. The emotions, when they are fully manifest and revealed, then they're an excitement about self. And the emotions, when they're still in the mind, have still some of the humility of the mind, which means some of the selflessness of the mind. So even though there is a blend of emotion there's some self-consciousness and self-awareness, but it's tampered with the intelligence that's not allowing it to be about you, but more about the objective beauty of it. And even the excitement is more an objective type of an excitement. These are the midos, these are the emotions that are in the head. And the reason why they're called the midos of mochin, why don't we refer them just as the beginning of a midah, the beginning of emotions? Why do we refer to them as emotions of the mind? Because since the excitement is more refined, in what sense? The excitement is not about the enhancement of self. The excitement is on the beauty of it. Not that it is good for myself. It's not good for me. Or good for him. The ikr in, and that's why we can't put it in the category of emotions, a real emo. We call it the emotions of the intellect. It doesn't belong to the emotions of the emotions, because the primary feature of emotions is hergish atzmi, is feeling yourself. If you're not feeling yourself, you don't have emotions. Emotion evolves very much. It's in the center of the person. It's me, my life, my existence. What is good for myself. And over here, since the excitement, as it is applying in the early stages of excitement, when it's still about the beauty or the preciousness or the value of it for itself, unrelated to self, this is not really midos. This is not what we call real emotions. And another point over here is that in this stage, the excitement is not so noisy. It's a more subtle excitement. It's like you can look at the person's face as they're looking at the art and they're getting excited about it. You can look at their eyes. You can see maybe there's some more color in them. You can see that they're excited, but they're not jumping. But when they step away and start thinking about how this will be so amazing if we put this art in our house, here's where the excitement becomes more visible, more noticeable, more revealed. The excitement is more concealed. The reason why the excitement, while it's in the mind, is quiet, not so noisy, is because it's still being influenced by the radiance of the intellect, which means by the thing itself, is still to a certain degree dominating, and not in other words, there's a clash over here. Is it me or is it it? What's being felt more? Since in this medium stage, when the mind is getting excited, there is still the presence of the thing itself, albeit you're a little bit outside of it. You're not totally in it, but you're still shining. So the space that the object or the person or the art or the whatever it is occupying, that space is not allowing self to occupy. And since excitement is about the self, so there is less self there, so there's less visible excitement. The hasaga that one is grasping in the essence of the idea, even though it's not like the first minute you looked at the art, or even the first 5 minutes, maybe when you weren't even excited, you were just lost in it. And then there was no space for self, not even for your blood pressure to go up and your excitement to rise. Okay, and therefore, that's why this is only the midos of the moch. Nevertheless, it's still a source for the midos of the heart. Let's continue this tomorrow. But again, this is the example of a ilavi olo that is where one thing is stemming from the other, but it's a separate substance. It grows within, it evolves, and then we'll see further on as we will learn.